Have you ever wished that you had that certain degree or that certain certification and just somehow life conspired perhaps against getting that, or other things came up? Now it's 20 years later. Well, take hope. The business trend that I see is moving towards where all that's important, but maybe not as important as it was. A situation came up at work, and this was at the executive level a few years ago, where there was a concern that we needed more people with certain degrees. Okay. And we had a GPA, a grade point average, that was a requirement in order to work at a workplace. Okay, now executive leadership is allowed to do this. And their thought was that, okay, we might miss some people, but just as a basic quality assurance step, we're going to expect a certain standard, and we'll let in people who meet that standard, and then on average, the situation will be we'll have competent people, we'll be able to lead them, and we'll be able to achieve the mission. Even though we might miss a few shining stars, on average, we'll be able to work with the people we do hire. Okay, I understand that perspective. My own opinion is that has some flaws. Now, yes, we do need to hire people who work hard. We do need to hire people who work well in teams. However, I had a good friend who, his father died suddenly when he was in college, and the father was the breadwinner. But he was an entrepreneur, and he ran a plumbing business, plumbing supplies and some basically wholesaling. And so the son was the oldest son, and did the honorable thing. All of a sudden became a business owner and ran the business and has been doing it successfully. I don't think anyone would call my friend a failure in any way, even though to this time I believe he does not have a 4-year degree. Honestly, he's been running his own business for 20 years. I can't believe he would need a degree except maybe for closure or for interest, like maybe to learn a foreign language. Another friend of mine is just in a situation where money was very tight. The parents were scraping by, and she took a few classes at a community college in photography, and just didn't have the means to earn a 4-year degree, particularly in California, which is a fairly expensive U.S. state. Again, very successful now, has a career, but again, there's no 4-year degree. Third example, IT security. A lot of times in that regime, it's the certifications you have. Do you have a CISSP? Do you have SANS certifications? Your Cisco, your Microsoft certs? They're a list of certifications. Security Plus is another one. So that's the measure. And I took a CISSP course from a gentleman who barely made it out of high school, and then he's nationally sought after for his red teaming expertise and his security architecture feel and experience. So their degree is limited. And I'm happy to report that my employer has since sort of changed some of these rules, particularly with regard to information technology, because we just couldn't recruit. So, we basically, to bring anyone in, that was reasonably competent, we just had to relax some certain rules. So finally that's changed, and it was well-intentioned in the beginning, but my opinion is it's experience, it's your ability to work with other people, it's your, frankly, lack of drug use. Now drug use is separate. If there's a possible drug problem, then there's a good reason to not employ. So my opinion is that unless there's a medical reason for certain drugs, and sometimes there are, that recreational drug use is a flag, even if you have a PhD. But I think we need to move away from sort of this resume checking, degree checking, to more, can this person do the job? Why are they there? Have they shown work ethic? Have they shown that they kept a part-time job while going to school full-time? So there are things we can look at to see, is this person a fit? Because ultimately, we have to deliver products. And if we bring on people, even if they're really smart, very credentialed, if they just cause havoc for whatever reason, then that costs money, that slows us down. Now, I do believe if one does have the degree, I have several advanced degrees, I do believe I bring something to the table with that. Certainly, if you've been able to attend college, universities, and have those programs, that is a good thing. Okay, education is a good thing. However, what I see, or what I really have a problem with, is when it's used as an artificial filter. Final note on that: there are people who do 20 years in the military, incredible leadership experience. Some would call the military as one of the best leadership training programs on the planet. Okay, certainly they may or may not have a 4-year degree in their process, but they've attained the rank of E7, E9, or 06. Those are different military ranks that are high up, very accomplished. I would propose that they'd be great assets to any organization, degree or not. So again, bottom line, degrees are important. We need a background, we need a basic skill set, but let's hire based on, can they do the job, what's their track record, what have they done, what's their life experience been like, and let's take those kinds of things into account. And finally, if someone's lost their way for a couple of years but are back on track, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I would say let's extend an opportunity there. My experience is they tend to be very grateful. Friends of mine in that boat are very grateful for the position, incredibly hardworking, and also incredibly loyal. So my opinion is, if they have a gap in their resume, let's bring a little bit of understanding and even compassion in that situation, if they're back on track and if they've turned it around. So, comment below what you think. Agree or disagree. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know, and I will see you in the next tip.